He pinky promised her a forever. Unfortunately, destiny had some other plans. "Honey, I am home," he called out. Moments later, realization washed over him. As the silence greeted him, it reminded him, habits don't go as quickly as people do. "Why didn't you choose to remarry?" they asked. "We don't break promises just because they aren't here to check on it," he replied, smiling, even after years had passed since she left for heaven. Love is truly immortal. "All I did was love him truly, and he chose to spread rumors," she cried to her best friend. "Because sometimes people make you the bad guy so that the world doesn't charge them guilty," her best friend replied. Somewhere between saying, "I love you," by actions, to saying, "I love you" as a routine, we drifted apart. "We could have made it work," she said with hope. "But he never replied," she cried. "Silence is also an answer," her best friend replied. "Today, I saw an old man walking over dried leaves, crushing them purposely. So I stopped by and asked, 'Why?' He replied, 'This was where my late wife and I first met. She was crushing the leaves. Suddenly she tripped and fell into my arms. She loved walking on them, crushing dried leaves.'" He returned from her funeral and saw fresh sunflowers on the table with a note attached to them. It said, "I may have lost my fight to cancer, but the day I met you, I won at life." They both said goodnight to each other. While one slept, the other scrolled through their chats to read where it all went wrong. "This isn't working out," he said. "If I leave now, I am not coming back," she said. "I'm stuck between I don't give a damn and is she really not coming back? Some days I can't stop thinking about you. Other days I wonder, why am I wasting my time?" She wiped her tears while hugging his worn-out army uniform. "I don't want him to go." "I am sorry, sweetie," replied her mom. "Promise me you'll come back soon," she said to him. "Woof," he whined. "I'll take that as a yes," she cried. "Do you need to go in this weather?" she asked. "The country needs me." "I must," he replied. "Come soon for the holidays, I'll be waiting," she assured. "I will," he said, hugging her. It's been 5 years since the plane crashed, and his mother is still waiting. "Had a bad day?" he asked. She nodded. "Want to talk about it?" She refused. "Okay, I'm just going to stay here," he said, and sat next to her. She rested her head on his shoulders. Sharing silence never felt so comfortable. "Babe, open the door," I shouted, banging on the bathroom door. "I have cancer. Just leave me already," he declared in his frail voice. "How dare you think like that? It's unfair, you know, that we laughed together, and now you want to cry alone." On that day, they talked for about 2 hours. Today, he smiled as he watched her name on the screen. Running a finger over it, his eyes got wet. If I only knew it was her last time, I would have never ended the call. Her heart became heavy as the train arrived on the platform. "I will come back soon," he said, wiping her tears. "Don't worry about me. The country needs you more than I do," she replied. His heart filled with hope and despair. She found out that her crush was dating someone else. He was dating her best friend. For the first time, anger had made her cry. "Do you have any idea how to do it?" There was no reply. "Maths feels easier than the fact that you are not here to help me with it," he said, looking at the sky as he cried. Together since childhood, and for the first time today, his best friend was not by his side. After a lot of effort, I was finally able to get past him, finally able to move on in life. Until someone asked the definition of forever, and my heart broke again. His was the first name that came to my mind. "I won't ever be ready to say goodbye to you," he said, and hugged her as they started to walk down the aisle. Daughters will always have a special place in their father's hearts. She was debating whether to call him today. Finally, her phone rang. She picked it up frantically. "Ma, where have you been?" "It's been a week since you called." She just gladly listened to him talk, thinking, "You miss me only when I seem to forget you, yet forgetting you is the one thing I can't do." Nostalgia flooded him as he came across his old school books while cleaning his cupboard. The handwriting in the notes reminded him of his best friend, who had offered to complete his notes when he had fractured his hand. The memories always brought a fond, familiar smile with them. Yet he can't recollect why they had lost touch over the years. Just for once, I wanted her to say this. "Can we sort this out? I can't lose you." I guess she thought I would go to her and repeat those lines, just like every other time. But I didn't. It's so hard for me to put it into words because I've never loved anyone the way I love you. You were such a lovely person. Anyone could fall in love with you. But you chose to love me, and maybe God got jealous, and in that earthquake, took you away from me. I guess he loves you more than I do. It's so difficult to forget. The memories in your head, they won't fade away quickly. We both had held hands on every last street of this town. Today, I clasped my hands together, trying not to break down. A cool breeze passed us by. Her scent flooded the air. I decided to hold my breath and make her stay with me. I had seen this coming long back when I had found her out of bed, talking to someone else in the middle of the night. Yet I was not ready to let her go. I think, I don't love you anymore. With her eyes down, she stuttered. In my sinking heart, a hope fluttered. I wanted to tell you this for a long time. He was on the phone with his best friend. Tell what? She asked as her heart beat faster. I am in a relationship. It's been a month. As her heart tried to process the news, water blocked her eyes. Congratulations, was what her mouth replied. Love is gifting someone a book and writing a note to them on the first page. Hope is reading the same book, reading the same note, over and over again, telling yourself he might come again. He might have just lost his way and is on his way back home, on his way back to you. Insecurity is a hurdle that is always difficult to jump over. I mistook her for going behind my back with my close friend, while all she was doing was planning a great surprise for my birthday, and I gave her the gift of separation in return for her love. Now it will never be the same anymore. After months of her dropping subtle hints, he decided to do the deed. The pain of her hasty decision increased after knowing the plushie she threw on the road, which led to his death in an accident, spoke, "Will you marry me?" with a ring inside. If we had one parachute in a crashing plane, what would you do? The girl asked him out of the blue after being with him for years. I'd give it to you and push you off the plane because I would have already decided to live ahead within you, replied the boy. And to this day, the narration of this last conversation with her love makes her tear down. It doesn't seem like you have alopecia. Then why do you shave your head? The students asked their old English professor with a stubble head. Because my wife passed away from cancer years ago, but I still wish to make her feel supported in case she's around me, the professor replied.